Welcome to Innsbruck, Austria. Today we will be flying the Avanti, as you can see here, and we will be flying from Innsbruck, right, a beautiful place, to Venice, also a beautiful place. When it comes to the airports, this custom airport in Innsbruck is already included in MSFS, right, so everybody can use it. And I do recommend to use it because it's one of the more interesting airports, generally, right? And when it comes to Venice, I did finally buy the payware because I do really like to fly in this region with private jets and private jet-like planes, okay, that make sense for wealthy people. I wasn't buying the Venice scenery for a very long time, despite knowing that it exists, because the pictures on LIPZ were like very, very, very ugly for some reason. But today I took a look at how it looks like in the marketplace, right? And not only was it cheaper for me, like most of the time because like of the currency conversion, but also it looked really good, right? So I finally bought it. And it does look really good and pretty interesting, so I will show you once we land, okay? But as I understand, many of you have joined because of the plane. This is a custom livery, a great one. I got it from FlightFX, and I will link it in the description for everyone to use. It's a Swiss one, okay? So it makes sense for the region here. Okay, so maybe let us start talking about the plane. So this is a 2020 plane. I actually bought it somewhere in the beginnings of Flight Sim 2024, hoping that this would be the first very high quality 2024 plane, and they kind of implied it, like FlightFX implied it, that they will convert it like very quickly, and that this was the plan. Well, the sad truth is that it's still not converted, and I've checked out the latest discussion on the Discord of FlightFX, and they said that now they will start working on it, okay? So, sorry, it might still take a lot of time. That saying, I'm flying it in MSFS 2024 actually for many months now, with a long break, right? But in the beginning I was flying a lot, and now I'm kind of refreshing the plane for me. So is it bad in 2024? No, it's actually very, very good, but you need to watch out for some things. And what things those are, I will just explain in detail here, okay? So as this is not a 2024, you cannot remove all of those covers from the outside. And so we will have to go into the inside. But before we do it, let's talk maybe about the first problem of the plane that you can encounter in 2024. And this is actually the most important one, the most like critical one. So it might happen that if you use the interface from 2024 to load the plane, it will not take off. It will have like an extremely long takeoff run, and maybe if you max out trim during the takeoff run and yank it from the ground, you will take off. But obviously this is not something that we want to do, right? So actually there is an easy solution, well, two solutions. First and safest is to only add fuel and not add cargo or passengers, right? So then it always works. I was flying like this for a long time. But there is also a second one, which is like better, I think, in the long run. You can download a free utility. This is something that is offered by Godfriends. I will also link this in the description. And this pretty much allows you to apply the old 2020 logic in 2024. Okay, so this application only works in 2024, bringing the logic back to 2020, okay, when you are using it. So we will use it to load our plane this time. Okay, so let me just take a look at my sheet with points here that I wanted to discuss. Okay, when it comes to how to get the plane, right? It costs $25, so I think a pretty good price for it, and you can only buy it on the marketplace. But one thing that I'm not sure about is if you can buy it in the 2024 marketplace, because I bought it in the 2020 and then it was moved to 2024. I checked today in the marketplace, and for me, it appears in the 2024 marketplace, but maybe it's just because I bought it. I tried like asking on Discord, but haven't received an answer in time, right? So this one, I don't know. But coming back to the price, right? $25. So the question is now if there will be like an upgrade fee for the 2024 version that they are working on. In the beginning, they said yes, but the last post from August said that in the beginning, the upgrade will be free, and after a time, it might be paid without any details, right? And also they said that they are preparing like an Evo version upgrade, so for like the better performing newer version of the real plane, and this will be paid for sure. It has some like small modifications, also wing tips that we don't have here and stuff, right? Either way, as you will see, you can just fly the version for $25 in 2024, and I will show you how. Okay, so with this, we can just get in, okay, Shift C, okay, and we are at the tablet, right? So we want to, maybe I will show you also the luggage door from the outside, okay? So here we have the luggage door, and we can change what kind of luggage we want to see, right? Just for role playing, okay, you can change this one. Okay, but for now, let's just close the doors. Pretty nice animations. Oh, actually, okay. I wasn't looking at it before from this perspective. I guess from the front it looks okay. Okay. Okay, guys, so let's also remove all of the other stuff, making sure that the handbrake is on, parking brake, yeah, it's on, so we can remove the chocks. Okay, and let's talk about the stuff that we have here. So we don't want automatic steering mode, because changing the modes, the steering modes on the ground is one of those like cool features that are like unique to this aircraft, and I will explain later, right? So we don't want to make it automatic. When it comes to engine damage, there is actually a system for like over-torquing and overheating the turboprops, but I did read that some people had problems with it in 2024. I didn't. I think I have flown it many times with it off, but just for the video to not mess anything up, I will just trust those people that there are sometimes problems and just leave it disabled. We will still try, obviously, to not damage the engines. Okay. So other stuff, here you can see a lot of details that you can display in the passenger cabin. Okay. And we will take a look at them once we are in the air. Okay. And we also have like headphone simulation here, which is pretty handy. Okay. So let's count the things that might be a problem in 2024. The first one was loading, right? And it's solved by this application. Then we had engine damage. You can just turn it off. But this, I cannot guarantee that this is really a problem, right? And the next one will be the map, okay? So we do have Navigraph support, but if we click Navigraph, we will have this like blinking, right? This is because it tries to display like the standard map that doesn't work correctly in 2024, okay? So, but once we type in an airport to Navigraph, then it will stop blinking, okay? But there are two options to type in anything into this Navigraph field. I will show you in a second. You can type with your keyboard, and this doesn't work for me in 2024, but you can type in using the on-screen keyboard, and then it works. Okay, let me show you. Sorry for the blinking, right? So when I'm using the on-screen keyboard, it does work. And once you have the sheet here, it's not blinking anymore. Right, so this is how you solve this problem. Okay, okay, and this is pretty much it, right? Everything else should work. A problem that we will encounter with like how I run the sim is that I like to use DLSS, and on those screens, DLSS is really causing like a lot of those blurring, right? So at least in the beginning of the video, I will just use TAA instead of DLSS, so you can like see all of the values correctly. but then probably mid-flight, if I remember, we will switch to a DLSS because the destination is like very demanding. It's a custom airport. There is like a lot of photogrammetry around it, and there is also Venice very close by, which is like one of the most detailed photogrammetry regions in the sim, right? Okay, let me take a look at my smart list here. Yeah, so I think this is all. Maybe I will also show you the passenger cabin because it's really special. It's probably the most detailed one that I have seen. You can pretty much open everything, right? And there is a lot of stuff hidden. Okay. You can also play around with a lot of stuff inside. There's like a nice panel with the lights. All of this works. Okay. You just proceed. Just get a good height. Obviously, the tables finally work. I always like to sit at a table when flying, at least longer distances, right, when there is nothing to do. Many details of the seats actually work, which is pretty cool. The shutters work. Okay. I'm not sure about this one because yeah, it works. You just need to find the right spot, right? So we can also watch television here. And also, this one works, right? I don't think you can flash it, or maybe I haven't found the right button. Yeah, just the lights, okay? And here you have toilet paper somewhere, wet wipes, right? And the toilet paper, okay? So crazy detail. Okay, here we have our luggage, right? Okay, and some other things. One thing that doesn't work, but works, for example, in the Beechcraft Starship, right, are the reading lights, right? So you cannot click here. Oh, this was a pretty nice effect in the Beechcraft. Okay, that you could only like turn on some of them, and then there was like a romantic atmosphere, I guess. Okay, so just to show you some more. Pretty much everything works. I mean, it doesn't work, right? But you can just open it and see inside of it. Okay, pretty cool. Normally I would say, I mean, it's silly, right? And they are just wasting time. That's saying the rest of the plane is also very good. So as long as the whole plane is great, for me, they can play around like this one. I think it's fine. Okay. So let's go back to our cockpit. Let's not waste any more time. Okay, so let me just see how to turn it on. Okay, battery. Here to COM1, if you would like to communicate with ATC, right? Then we will start the engines, so we will go to anti-collision lights ground. Okay, let me just make sure that I have taken off all of the covers. I just love this livery, it's really cool. Okay. Okay, and like with any other turboprop, this is close to being it. We will start with the right engine. I have seen people starting it to like from different sides, but when I watch like the real pilot video in the real aircraft, they were doing it on the right side, like in most aircraft. So this is also how I will do it. So the special thing that is not done in many planes is just opening the fuel valve, right? Most of the time when you spawn in an aircraft, it's already open. So here you have to do it by hand. Then you have to move the pump to main, right? And then you just, okay, one thing. I wanted to show you how this one works, right? Before we start. So let me maybe turn off the fuel pump, okay? And first, let's load up with this new interface, okay? So we want pounds, because this is how SimBrief is telling me to do it, right? And I need fuel 1,600, okay? Okay, so here. And now the payload provided by SimBrief is around 900, right? So let's just use this one. Okay. And we are inside of this, this zone here that should be safe, right, for the center of gravity. Let's hope that this will work now. I was testing it before, but most of the time when I was flying it, I was just not loading payload, right, to be totally safe. just the fuel. Okay. Again, now we can start. So fuel valve, main pump to main, right? And the starter is here. So it is a very fast process. You can pretty much not hot start it because it's so fast at the value that you need, right? It's around like 12, 15, I guess, and it's pretty much immediately at 20, so it's very hard to hot start it. Okay. But if you wait too long, you can mess up the battery, right? Which is also something that I have done before. Let's listen to it. Okay. Now let's put it to flight because we need more power because we will use the current from this one, right, to start the other one. Okay, so it's in flight idle. We do have the generator for this side on. Here under system, we can see if the generator is working, and it is working, right? So now, using the electricity like generated here, we'll be starting the other one, like in many other turboprop, right? What they also recommend to do in between is starting the hydraulic system. Okay, so this is what we will do. And now we can do the same for the other engine. Okay, let's just double check if everything is fine. It does seem fine. Okay, so let's just start it. Okay, once again, very fast at the needed value. Okay, and here to ground idle. Okay, let's look for a hot start. Nicely modeled. Obviously, if we would have like DLSS, it would like be all blurred, right? So sadly, this is not an aircraft that I can recommend like flying with DLSS, although you can do it like me and just start with DAA and then change, right? Okay, so we need the second generator. Let's see if it works. System, yeah, they both work. Nice. Okay. And now the other one can go back to ground idle. Okay. So now fasten seatbelts because we will be starting taxiing. Position light and recognition lights. Let's wait with those. Okay. So let's proceed with other stuff that we have to do here. So I think this is the emergency power unit, right? So just a backup. We need the full avionics and everything will like come alive here. Okay. We need the bleeder for pressurization. And let me see, everything else should be set up automatically. This should be to auto and it is to auto. Okay. Here we can set up the landing altitude. And we will be landing close to the sea, right? So pretty low, so we can adjust it a little bit. Pitot heat later, when we will be close to the runway. Last check. No, pretty much everything that we need. Let's just move the flaps to the middle position, which is the takeoff position. Okay, you can see them moving slightly here. Okay. Okay, and now we will be doing all of the cool stuff with setting up the plane for the flight, right? So, altitude proposed by SimBrief is 21,000, so let's go there. I really like the avionics in this one. I was never a fan of Proline, but like the more I fly it, the more I find it's like very user-friendly and like pilot-friendly. Okay, so we have this one. Let's get some barrow readings. And I guess we can start using the FMC now, which we will be using. As we are here and I remember, let's move the pitch to the takeoff setting. So this is like a nice unique sound for the trim, right? Okay, so position initialize, we will be taking the one proposed by the plane, okay? And now let's load a flight plan. We can just directly import from SimBrief, right? So I hope I will remember where it was. Here, index, root menu, flight plan recall. Okay, and we have everything set up, but like in other like airliners, we also have to select the departure and arrival by hand, right? So let me just compare it to my sim brief. So Lovey departure will be runway 26. So next, runway 26. Okay, execute. Okay. Departure arrival index in Venice. Okay. We will use the Albi to Echo arrival. This one, okay. For ILS 04 right. ILS 04 right. And we will be taking Z, as this is the easiest approach, the least complicated most of the time. Okay, and now it asks us for a VIA, and I have looked it up in the flight plan before, and we will need Laren or Laren, I guess. Okay, execute. Okay, and now we should have like a flight plan being displayed here. Okay, it's actually in the logic, it's like very similar to what you do in an Airbus, right? Kind of also like in a Boeing, but I feel it more like an Airbus. Okay, so let's go to performance. Actually, first, I do remember that there was like a discontinuity, right? So let me go to flight plan. Next, yeah, and there is one. So here we can clear it. Okay. Execute. Okay, here we have the missed approach. Here it seems fine. Let's take a look at the legs. Okay, and this is already the missed approach. And we do have some limitations here, right, already, which is nice. Okay, so let's go to performance, like in an airliner, right? And so we want the performance here first, okay? So we have already set up, I mean, because we were using the turn knob, right? So this is already set up. And we need to provide the cargo, right? Because we have added it by hand. So let me just double check what it was. And payload was 957, okay? So cargo 957 pounds. Okay. And this gives us like a gross weight of around 10,000, right? Which was also expected. Okay, so execute. Let's go to takeoff. No, actually, I think there was like a second site. So let's just give this one. No, actually not. Okay, so let's go to takeoff. And let's get all of this wind data. I will just take a look into what SimBrief is telling me. You can also order weather using this FMC, right? But then I would need to change the FMC page to something else, right? But I'm already here, so I want to set it up. Okay. Okay, so I can show you, because we for sure have many people that like don't use SimBrief that much, right? So when you get the report, it's kind of on the bottom, well, not really, like it's below the standard sections that you normally use, and it's here. Okay. So temperature is 13. Okay, QNH is 1022. And here you can see it in the American standard, but if you type in 1022, it will just convert, which is great. All right. Okay, and the wind is pretty much 0. It's just 1 knot. So we can just put it like this. Okay. I think there is another page. Yeah, there is. Okay, let me just execute it for now. Okay, so we don't want anti-ice, right? We will use mid flaps. This is fine. And it has calculated like a rotation speed, like we can see here. But let's just send it to the system so that it will be displayed on the PFD. Okay. Just one last swipe here, yeah, execute this one. Let's go to Takeoff because there's like a lot of pages under the main page. This is fine. Structural limit, this is how much we are waiting and how much we can, right? Wait. Okay. Okay, and last one, let's just tune the radios. Okay, so here we will change to the transponder to array. And let's already provide the destination navigation information. Okay, that's a lot of patience. Whoops. Okay. Okay, so we will land on ILS 10995. 10995. 109. Obviously, if you are flying like on VATSIM, it might be changed from which direction you will land, what ILS you will have to use, right? So then you will not set it up now, right? Because it can like change anytime. But for us, if you are online flying, this should be fine. Okay. Oops. Camera jump. Okay, so what else do I want to show you? Okay. So here you can see those are our waypoints, right, that we will be using. And here you can see that it's already providing the top of descent. Okay, and many people don't know how to set it up because with the standard settings, it's not visible here. Okay, so we need to go here, MFD menu, and make sure this is on VNAV, right? And then you will get this information. Okay, let me just zoom out, see if the routing seems like it makes sense. Yeah, kind of does. Okay, and I will also want to set up the final course for the ILS. So here let's change to this one, yeah, to nav, and I will just adjust this one. Just because later I will have DLSS on, so it may be hard to see the exact numbers when they are like changing. 039er, okay, 039. Okay, and this is here. So I have seen on other people's videos that if everything is set up correctly, the plane is actually automatically adjusting the correct course, right? I have never done it before. I was always adjusting it by hand, but it worked when I was like watching a video. So I'm not sure if it always worked or just they got lucky, right? So just for us to not waste time, I already set it up for localizer 1, so for nav 1, right? And let's go back to FMS, right? Okay, this should be fine. Okay, so other stuff. What can we set up here? So refs, right? So the reference speeds. But here I pretty much only want like rotation speed, right? Here we will be setting up the minimums for the landing and like the speeds for the landing. And here if you press it like 2 times, you also have some options, like you can change the American barrel, right? And for example, the alert. Like how high, what will be the transition height, right? And if it should alarm you or not. Okay, so I think this option is actually here somewhere. Takeoff, I have seen it. Okay, so this is the approach. And this is the approach reference. But I have also seen like general performance data during the cruise. Let me just think about this one. Takeoff, VNAV setup. Here, transition altitude for Innsbruck or like for Austria. Whoops, why is it? Should I change it to 010 probably? Now I'm not sure because I wasn't really using it here. I just saw that it's here. Let me just think about it. Okay, so it's 10,000, right? Okay. So let me just provide it as 10,000. If it doesn't want like a flight level from me. I mean, it should only influence the information that we will see on our PFD. Okay, so primary flight display. Okay, so it seems like we have set up everything. Actually, it's a pretty like easy plane to set up. If you don't forget anything, I hope I didn't, right? And let's just go flying. Okay, so one last look. Oh, there are some clouds, and we have a departure that is like a visual one. So let's hope this will not be a problem. Let me just see. I want the displays to be a little bit brighter. In general, on the left side, you have all of those like light controls, right? Oops. Okay, and now we can probably talk about the unique thing about this one. So let me just get the yoke. Okay, so here we have taxi steering mode. That's saying, let me show you. If you have this on, none of this is true that I'm telling you now, because it will be handled automatically, right? But if you turn it off, then you need to know it. Okay, and how to hide the tablet, also important news, here, right? And then it moves here. Okay. Oh, okay, so let us proceed. So this is the taxi mode. It allows the front wheel to turn more, right? Then when we will be on the runway, we will have to change it to takeoff mode. And then when we will be starting rolling for the takeoff, we will have to press this button to turn it off altogether before we reach 60 knots, right? So first we will use mode steer to change it to takeoff mode. And then once we start rolling, we will click this one to disable it altogether. That's saying, I was flying like for 10 times and I didn't know that this button even exists, and nothing bad was happening. So in the end, wanting to press the button before you reach 60 knots is probably more destructive and risky than just not doing it at all and starting it like in takeoff mode, right? So I mean, you can do it if you want to be very realistic, but I didn't really see much of a difference, and just trying to click it or like setting up a hotkey, it's like a lot of effort. Okay, so taxi. Oh, and I want to show you those cool lights here. Okay. I always like when something is like moving. Oops, oops, oops. Okay. I just need to play around with the cameras because like the jump is too high. I do plan to buy chase plane once it like works with 2024. Okay, so it seems like we are ready. Maybe my talking like didn't cause me to forget anything. So one thing that is like amazing about this one, and that I like much more than like in the Starship, for example, is the view. Like you can see everything. It's really great. Okay. Too much talking, not enough flying. Let's go. Parking brake. And we do already start rolling, and it will accelerate. So luckily there is like a beta mode. If you just go into reverse thrust, you will first get beta before you get reverse, right? So like in many other high quality turboprops. Is there the line? Just a second. Okay, no line. So let's just go like this. Yeah, the sounds are okay. And now we don't have much power, right? So it will be louder and you will be able to hear the engine better. Is there like a line here? Yeah, there is. Okay. Okay. So let's just turn everything that is left on. So pitot heat. Okay, windshield icing to low because it's not very cold. Landing lights to full. Okay, so now we have more lights. Anything else? Auto feather. Okay, this one is interesting because they do recommend to turn off auto feather once you are over, I think, 150 knots, which I haven't seen in other planes, like in the manuals and on checklists. Okay, so anything else? The trim is... Just a second, the trim is okay. We have this one. Let's turn on the recognition lights. Let's turn on the full anti-collision lights and not like just the beacon. There are a lot of tests that you can run, okay, if you like tests, okay, it all works. You are just rotating to the test that you want to do and then clicking this button in the middle and holding it, and then it will run all of those tests. It's nicely simulated. Okay, and I think we can just roll. I'm not sure why the cameras are like jumping around for me like this. Okay, let's just get going. I can show you like some of the beta range, I guess. Let's make it roll. Okay, I guess we can already change to flight idle. I'm hoping I'm not like... Yeah, okay, I'm nicely on the line. It's pretty docile when taxiing. Okay, let me just give you... Now I'm switching to beta. There's this nice sound, right, and we are getting slower. Okay, now I'm changing back. So it all works like it should, like in a proper turboprop, right? Okay, let's hope we will not get this like a long takeoff back. I have tested it many times. Let's hope it will not be like the YouTube factor this time. Okay, let's just do a nice lineup. Okay, so one last check. All of the lights are on. Everything is on here. We do have pitot lights. We do have pressurization. Okay. Like in many planes, you can like pre-select some autopilot modes. If you want it to be faster, then when you click autopilot, it will be like ready, right? So let's just get this one. Okay, it's like armed here, right? Let's center the heading back. Okay, centered. And I think for now I will be using flight level change. This is kind of like an IAS mode, it's just like a different name. Okay, and I don't like this. Okay, so maybe this is like a good moment to change to DLSS, so you will get like some nice FPS. Let me do it. Just afraid that I will forget it later, right? Okay, super resolution and frame generation, please. Okay. And let's just resume. Okay, now we should have nicer FPS, but we do have this like slight blurring here. Okay, so now we are switching to takeoff mode, steering takeoff, and before we reach 60 we will click this annoying button. Okay, that I let me just see. Okay, I hope I will not crash. You can bind it, right? But I think it's too much effort. Just okay. Okay, so I think I forgot to go max prop. Yep. So we want the maximum possible power, right? And let's just... First the governor needs to catch like the propellers. Okay, and it's happening. We can see it's in the green. And then we cannot reach the red here. So I need to... Okay. And let's go. We're a little bit over the limit because I cannot see. Okay, now let's move off steering altogether, right? So then we are only steering with like the stabilizer, right? Okay, VR is coming up. And let's rotate. And we can see no infinite gear up. This was the trim, and we can see no infinite like takeoff back because we have used this nice additional plugin, right? Let me just make sure nothing bad is happening here. Okay, we will be climbing. The terrain here is not easy, like you can see. I've chosen the visual departure, which is like also a departure in the official departures in Innsbruck. And it's pretty cool. When it comes to hand flying this thing, I really like it. I actually like it more than the Starship. Like both of those might be totally realistic, right? It might be just a characteristic of the Starship, but this kind of feels like more fluent in a way, which I really like appreciate in planes. Okay, so I'm playing around with the trim a little bit. I'm still within the flaps range, so I'm using those. Don't want to fly into the mountains, so we are not joining like the course yet, right? You can zoom in for you a little bit. Here you can see this is the limit where we have to raise the flaps, right? It's all nicely shown. Okay, and let's just take a look at the nice views. Yeah, it's really beautiful in here. And X-plane, I was also like flying a lot here. Okay. Let me just make sure everything is fine. And it seems to be. We just need some more altitude. Yeah, I always like those unique trim sounds. This one is not as cool as the one in the 727, but it's also pretty great. Okay, let me just take a look. Nice, nice, nice. We still have some visibility. Ah, some nice wind. Once we are over the mountains, I will just switch to the magenta line, right? I think at this stage we can like get rid of the flaps. You can see it like in the front moving on this canard wing, I think. Yeah, pretty awesome. Okay, so are we there yet? Almost. There is terrain radar here, so let me show you. Ta-da! So you have all of the useful functionality here. Let's not lose too much speed. Just make sure we are not crashing into anything. And slowly we will be able to turn on our course. Strange, I'm still getting like some low FPS here. Normally with DLSS it shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Slowly turn back on our course. So let's get the nose down a little bit, because like 165 is supposed to be the best like climbing speed. I can increase the power a little bit because we are far away from the limit. Okay, we have the terrain radar still on, but we can see like nothing is a danger in our altitude. So this is why I will decide to just click AP on, flight level change, and it should capture nav. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. We should be over the clouds in a moment. I did it like very close to the waypoint, so let's hope it will not back out. In general, the autopilot logic and the navigation logic is really robust in this one, but this might be challenging for some planes, so let's just see. Okay, and we also don't want our landing lights anymore, because they are in the airflow, right? So let's just turn them off. Okay, so we could hear the like silent whine from, well, whatever was the servo motors that were raising this whole landing light panel. Okay. Okay, let's just center the heading back, and this should work out nicely. You can see the top of descent will be in 83. It doesn't show the top of climb, right? But you can already see that we are pretty close. Okay, and I think I can relax. One thing is yaw damper. I'm not sure because it doesn't display. I think it displays if you don't have the autopilot on and only the yaw damper. Okay, now we can change the weather radar. And we can see some possible like turbulence here, right? Some possible wet clouds. Okay. We are pretty close. We are over the transition altitude, so standard barrow, click here. I'm just wondering if those are the clouds that are giving me this like performance impact, or maybe because I just switched to the LSS like in the middle, right? So it's not ready yet. I'm not sure. I was flying like similar routes, right, with TAA on, and it was also fine. Just in the last part, very close to Venice, right, it was like the performance went down a little bit. Okay, so here you can see that it will capture the altitude, and we are nicely climbing. It should be 165, so we can just adjust it. Okay, here you can see it changing when I'm turning the speed knob. Yeah, so 165 for optimum flow. Okay, I mean for optimum climb in this case. Okay, we can release the passengers. Let me just make sure everything is fine. Okay, should capture it. All is fine. Okay. So let us go to the back for a second. Just one last check, because I'm always paranoid when I'm recording. Okay. Okay, so flaps are up. This is up. This is fine. This is fine. Okay. So let's go to the back. Okay, so we are a passenger. Let's get our table. This is like that we are close to the altitude that we want to catch, right? It's 1,000 to go. Okay. And now I will show you like one of those features, like those cabin features. So let me just get this one. And here we want a plated dinner, right? And we also want clutter. Okay. And let me show you now. Okay. So we do have plated dinner here. Right? And we also have clutters. There should be some pillows here and there. Let me just see. So we got those nice, comfy, cozy pillows, right? And we can also close some of this. Let me jump around. Here, let's see what the passenger sees. Yeah, it's really like a beautiful region, and like it fits perfectly all of those like wealthy people planes, right? Okay, so we are capturing the altitude. Let's just see what happens. So let's turn on traffic. We don't really need it. There is also like a stop timer. I know people love them, like in airliners. When you will be starting, you can just click here, and it will start counting. like the button in in Boeings, right? Okay, it should work nicely. Here we can zoom out to see where the top of descent will be. Let me just see. Yes, it's this green dot. So still some time to go. Okay, let me show you an outside view. I just need to make sure it's not too loud. Yeah, so I find this is like the best view. It looks pretty cool with it. Okay, so like in general, I'm not like a very big fan of how the airplane looks like, but it's how it looks like in the reality, so it's great. And also this view is just finally like a private jet where I can see something, right? Because like both the Starship and the Honda jet have pretty like small windows here, and here you can totally enjoy the view. I had some amazing like night landings in like mountainous terrain, so it was looking just great. Okay, so when compared to the Starship, right? I do prefer the hand flying in this one, which doesn't mean that like both are not realistic, right? I do like the avionics in this one, despite them having this problem with DLSS. So Starship is like handling DLSS and frame generation better, right? So this might be also important. Obviously, like the failure simulation in the Starship is amazing, right? So this is very simplified. The view is bad, and this is good. Here you have more options in the back, right, in the passenger cabin, but don't have the reading lights, which are very cool in the Starship. I do like the outside model of this one a little bit better. Both of them are like very clear and like perfect, too perfect for me, but I think this looks like a slightly tad more realistic, and I would find it like hard to describe why I think it's the way. Also, I think the Starship is like reacting to autopilot input a little bit like too violently, maybe, and this is pretty smooth. Like if you don't mess anything up as the pilot, right? If you don't demand too much from the autopilot, so I think that this is smoother. But besides that, here there are like many things that don't feel like the best planes. Like for example, switching some of the switches. I'm not sure if it's the animation or like the sound, but it feels a little bit like too light. I know it's like a very small detail, right? But this is something that I have noticed, right? Yeah, so I would recommend to get both. Yeah. Okay, let me just take a look into our FMC here. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, is there anything that I want to check? Okay, so here we have some information about our flight. Okay, ground distance. Oh, I wanted to show you how to get the meter, right? So you go into data link, weather, here request, and here Venice will be this, as far as I remember. Okay, let's send it. Okay, in progress. Okay, a lot of clicking, but finally we do have our data here, right? And we can use this data to put in like approach data for our landing. Okay, so normally I would do it like before the landing, but as said many times when recording, I get easily distracted, so we can as well do it now, right? Let me just write it down. Okay. So let's now go to performance, approach. Okay, so wind is 070. Add 06. Okay, temperature is 23. It's a nice warm day. Okay, and QNH is 1019er. 1019. Okay, and now we go to next. Okay, so no anti-ice. Okay, this is the landing weight. I'm not sure how it is calculated because I think it calculates like the destination one. If we would turn this off, this would show us the expected destination data. So I'm expecting the plane to know it. Okay, so let's just use this one. Okay, so send, and it will calculate and display those speeds for us, right? So the approach speed and the landing speed. Okay. Okay, so the expected landing weight is this one, 9642. Let's just see. Yeah, I'm not sure about the weights. That this is something that I would need to research more. That's saying if you do it properly, not like me now, but like close to the approach, this should be all fine, right? I'm just trying to entertain you with some activity when we are flying. Okay, so when I was watching other people using it... Oh, wait. I was thinking I did turn the auto feather off. I was even talking about it. Okay, so once again, auto feather off above 150 knots. So maybe I was talking a bit a lot, but didn't do it, right? And we can synchronize the propellers during the flight. Okay. Okay, so top of descent in 6 minutes. So let's just do a check if everything seems fine. Okay, let's center the heading back. Okay. Yeah, it's really dependable. I mean, I haven't flown it for a couple of of months, right? Before I was flying it a lot. Maybe something has changed with the SIM updates, that it's less dependable, but it was dependable, and when I was testing it yesterday, it was also like performing without any problems, so it should be fine. Okay, so it seems like we are on track with everything. So there is an interesting option, maybe someone from you knows, right? So there is a preset for lock 1, and if I click it, the plane will still follow the guidance. I think this is here to allow me to set up the course for the nav1 that I will need later for the landing, but I'm not sure. And like last time when I was flying, it was VOR2, so nav2 here, and I couldn't change it to VOR1. So guys, if you know how this exactly works, because I was also trying to check in the manual and couldn't find like an exact description, then please let me know. Thank you. Okay. So we are closing the top of descent. Okay. This plane does have full VNAV, but it doesn't have auto throttle, obviously, right? Okay. We can zoom out a little bit. Okay. There will be like a longer approach, like one of those like Z ones, right? Or U ones, depending on how you look at it. But this is good, we will have some more time to talk about the plane, right? And this will not be like a very long video. I have like selected a route that will be like perfect for just talking about the plane, right? If you're bored already, like in every one of those longer videos, I am providing like the chapters that you can jump around between them, right? Okay, so I think we can also provide like the decision height data, right? So this is our approach. We will need to be at 3000, okay? And here we will be taking the ILS. I'm not sure if this plane is A, B, C or D, right? So I will just choose 215 to be on the safe side. Okay, so revs. Let me just, here, the big one, okay? And here, baron minimums, 215. I do seem that it's like saving those between flights, because I was setting up 210 on the last one, which is nice. There is no 215, so let's make 220. Okay, and here we can see this has a different color. This means that this will be already displayed, right? And if something will be not displayed, then we can just activate it like this, and now it will be displayed. Okay. Okay, let me just try here this one. I think this is like the transition height alarm. It will like remind you to change from standard to like destination barrel, right? So let's just keep this one. Okay. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay, so in 2 minutes. So let's just already set it up. Okay. So the final altitude for capturing the ILS is 3000. Okay. Weather change, I guess. Okay. Okay, and we have 3000. That's saying like in every airliner, it already informs us that there is like a limit that is higher on one of those waypoints, right? So it will first follow the limit here. Okay, nice, nice, nice. I'm just wondering, why is it so laggy? It's really strange. Oh, and one additional thing. If you have watched my video, let me just set up, okay. Let's talk a little bit less. I clicked on VNAV, and now it should follow the V path here on the top of descent. We can see it coming down here, right? So let's first talk about this one, and then I will talk about the other video. Okay, I'm taking off some power, because we will be descending. We are descending, and you can see the vertical speed is trying to catch like the path that was calculated here that we will need. Okay, and we are going down. Just reduce the speed a little bit more, and let me make sure we will not overspeed, and then I will talk to you. Wow, some really strong turbulence. Yeah, I mean, that's standard in my recordings. When I'm testing, it's always like calm weather, but when I'm starting to record, it's like always turbulence. Maybe. Sorry guys, but this will be safer. Okay. Okay. So let's go back to what I wanted to say. So in my video, this one in New Zealand and I2A, I had this like strange freezes, right? And I was suspecting it might have been like SIM update 3, because I didn't have them before. But in reality, what I think it was is that like the hard drive, I mean the SSD, right? Where I had the SIM and that I'm also using for recording was just full. there was no space left because the video was recording to the same drive where I was like running the sim from, right? I'm totally shocked that it didn't crash, right? Because there was almost no space left to use. So I think like the sim behaved really well, taking like the circumstances, right? Okay, and we will join this nice long approach. Okay, so we will have enough time to set everything up. You can see we are nicely on the path, right? Let me just try to remember 0109er will be the baro altitude. I think you can pre-select it. Let me just see 1019er. Yeah, I always love this about planes, right? That you can like select it early before you switch. Okay. Yeah, so as I said in the beginning, I didn't like Proline, right? I was always thinking it's like ugly as hell, and it also made some problems with like the refresh speed. It's not always looking great, but it's really like so pilot friendly now that I'm using it for longer that it's just like a joy to use, right? And here we have the speed. Okay, let's hope it will change. Let me just see 070. Yeah, so the speed is still fine for the speed that we have received on the FMC is still fine for the runway that we have chosen. Okay. About the oil coolers, right? I have seen some like simmers, YouTubers, using it on the ground to not overheat the engines, right? But when I was trying to find it in the manual, there wasn't really much. And I also didn't see like a real life videos where those would be used. So I'm not sure, right? That's saying if you use them, there is also like an anti-ice option for them if it would be like really cold. Okay. So we are coming along nicely. Okay. We do have all of the data for VNAV here. Like I still remember the times where like working VNAV was an absolutely amazing thing in flight simming, right? But here it just works. And it's like this with all of the like FlightFX planes. They all have like great navigation systems, right? Avionics. Even if they like base on the working title work, right? So there are also other payware planes that are basing on it and still have a lot of problems. So it's not something that is obvious. And this is something that I don't fully understand what it is doing, because oh, maybe there was like a 13,000 limit and I didn't see. Yeah, possible. Now we can zoom in a little bit. Oops. Okay. I don't expect much icing. I mean, the temperature is like below 0, but it will be only like a short moment where we should be in the clouds, and in general it's pretty hot. Well, otherwise we do have all of those like standard options. I'm just wondering what the ice vane is exactly doing. I was also reading on it in the manual, but it was like not directly described, because I would imagine that it works like in the Starship, where because those engines are like turned around, the heat from the engines is heating up the propeller, right? So maybe this is just like some form of intake. Maybe this is like the inertial separator. I'm not sure, guys. So if you're watching and you know, please also educate me here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I really like this one. And the Honda Jet that I'm waiting for has even better avionics. So there you also have those like touch screens and stuff, and it's also following like all of the flight plans without any problem. Actually, sometimes better than like an Airbus. So, it's really good. And this is kind of a little bit distracting for me. I don't know. Maybe because it looks like the screen is on, and I kind of have the reaction to take it like out and turn it off. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm just wondering what they will improve like in the 2024 version. If they will just add some like features, right? Fix like the loading screen, the payload, and add the possibility to take off the covers from the outside, right? Or maybe there will be more. I don't know. They are kind of now having the problem like of many developers that have like too many planes, right? That takes a lot of time to kind of take care of them. So this is also like the problem with Black Square, right? That it's just one person. Well, he's a genius, right? And he was able to develop those very fast. But now if he has like to update them all, that's really like a lot of work for one person, right? Even if it's a genius. Okay, going along nicely. Maybe I had something more set up like in the settings when I was using DLSS, and now I forgot because I have done it like very fast. I'm not sure. Because like I was also flying around Venice lately with just TAA, and it was also kind of fine, right? So I'm not sure why now those legs. Maybe some very dense clouds or something. Let me see if the recording is going on. Yeah, it seems like we have no problems. So this time, for the first time, if I will remember, I will try to record the landing. I'm normally not doing it like in planes that had failures, state saving and stuff, because it can mess up the plane, right? But here this one only saves the avionics pretty much, so it should be safe. So we will test it out if we will be able to do it. I'm using like a flight recorder, a fan-made app, I guess, plugin. But I also tried doing it in some of the planes with the now native 2024 recording option, and it was also working fine, but I guess it just depends on the plane. Okay. When it comes to the flap speeds and gear speeds, everything is here, which I always love, right? So flap extension 177 and gear operation 181. Okay. And we can see it's already telling us that the localizer is near, and we will see if it switches to it automatically. For me, it was doing it when I was testing it lately, but like, for example, when I was watching like this very experienced flight simmer, I guess that had also some real life experience with those, he was switching it by hand. So I guess as many pilots, as many approaches to this one, so we will just see. It's possible that it will not catch it, then I will just take over probably, we will see. You can see there is like some slight blinking. This might be like a small mistake in how it was modeled, right? And here, But I would say this is really minor. But I have like flown it so many times in 2024, and when you watch out for those like points that I talked about in the beginning, it's great, right? Not a problem. Okay. So let us get some views. Okay. Let me maybe offer you some external camera views. I mean, one view. Okay. Okay. And here we also have this old, like 2020 pilots, I think, which I actually preferred. So I have this 2024 pilot, right? The one that I like custom made, but I was doing him, right? I was creating him for the career mode. But it didn't mean that I want him to appear in every type of plane and helicopter like forever. So actually I did prefer it in 2020 when you didn't get like your one custom avatar. Okay, let's just zoom in. Okay, so we are going down nicely. Okay, so as we are close to landing, let's just close the tables and stuff. No plated dinner for you, right? Let's clean up the clutter. Okay, here let's close it. Just making sure that we are not doing anything strange. No, we are not. Let's go back. Let's close this one. Yeah, it's really nice, cozy cabin. I think there is also some liveries have like just white plastic here instead of like the wood and stuff, and they look like too modern for me, not cozy enough. But this one in wood is just beautiful. Okay, let's go back. Okay, and we have gone down, so we should switch to the destination barrel reading, right? Once we are close, there will be some nice photogrammetry. There is like an industrial harbor, I guess. Okay, now we can center the heading back, because you never know when it will be needed. Okay, and as we are like on the final line, we can activate approach, I think. Did it do anything? No. Okay, let me just... maybe because we are still on the path, right? On the VNAV path. I'll just do it in a second again. Okay, some slight turbulence. Okay, we are nicely going down, we are on the path. Let me try approach again. Maybe it's just too early. No, now we have like approach. Okay, this is fine. I just didn't click correctly, I guess. Okay, so it's still active on the VIV path, but approach is like triggered, armed, right? Yay, turbulence. Okay. Okay, and now it has automatically switched to this one, but as you can see, when it catches it, it switches to roll, and I'm not sure why. Maybe to give you the chance to confirm that you really want to start the approach on the localizer. This has also happened to me yesterday, right? So switching to lock works, but then it resets the mode. Okay, so watch out for this one. That's saying now everything seems to work. And we have this curse that I've set up in the beginning, 039er. It's possible that he would do it on his own, I guess, but I always do it by hand to be sure. Okay, I'll just go back to my standard view. I don't understand this jumping really. I think it just jumps between the last two selected, so maybe when I select like one view that is very close, this jump will not be like jumping so much, right? So we will see. One thing that people have complained about in 2024 is that the screens are too dark. This is pretty much the maximum setting, right? So maybe they are, but I think as can be seen on the video, it's still totally usable. Okay, and there will be Venice, and there somewhere is our airport, and here we will fly above this like great harbor area. I hope it will not totally kill the performance, but we will see. Just make sure that we have everything. Yeah, 3000 is armed. Okay. So we have 18 miles till the localizer, so till the runway threshold, right? Still some time left, so I will not reduce the speed yet. Although I found it's not easy to get rid of the speed, actually. I think in other turboprops it's easier. Maybe it's because they are like on the back, right, and like turned around. Or maybe I'm just wrong and it's like in every other Okay, so this is the runway there. Yeah, 1000 to go. It's hard to get used to this signal because it does sound like something is wrong. So this is something that like the plane likes to do on this approach, right? That it kind of does a pause for a minute before it starts going down. Maybe I just didn't see like a limit that it's following, but it will totally work. Famous last words. Okay, so we can get rid of propeller sink. And once we will be slower, once again this jump, once we will be slower, then we will start like deploying everything that we need to deploy. Okay? Yeah, so guys, if you haven't seen like Venice, that you can see here, then I really recommend to check out the photogrammetry. It's like one of the earliest one, and I think it's one of the best one. And it's also like a fascinating city. Okay, so once again, how much do we need for the flaps? 170. Okay. And it's just like very slowly going down, despite me pretty much being on zero throttle. Okay, so I will do the flaps now. Flaps 1, and we can see them moving here. Now I can already see that the photogrammetry will not be beautiful. Yeah, okay, so I just need to add some power for him. Okay, so we are still 10 miles out. And just the signal I get when I'm not adding like enough power, right? and don't have the gear down. Okay, and here we can already see the chimneys of the factories, I guess. It's a great approach here with Venice here and this industrial area here. Okay, I will drop the gear now and we'll show you the outside view. Okay. Okay, and now we can go to auto feather, arm it, and also deploy the landing lights. I think deploying it is like under 150, but let's do it now. Okay. And once we are a little bit closer, we will just switch to the second step of the flaps. Okay, so once again, amazing view in this plane. I just love it. Okay, so are we under down? No, we are not under down. Okay, let me just reduce the speed a little bit more. I mean, it's really strange that it needs so much to lose speed as a turboprop. Oh, wind gusts. Wind gusts. Okay. Okay, flaps down. Okay, let me just turn on this recording software. Okay, we are recording. Oops, whoops. Okay, and I think we are ready. So flaps down, gear down here and locked, okay, auto feather, full RPM, everything seems fine. Okay, whoops, whoops. Just let's not get too slow. So this is our approach speed, right? Here. It's hard to keep it with this wind, although there is no wind star. Right? It sometimes appears and sometimes disappears. Okay, let's just reduce the speed a little bit. Yeah, since they have introduced this like realistic wind gusts in MSFS, it's like always really exciting because it's very, very hard to keep the precise speed, right? If you have those changing winds. Okay, taking over. We are at our reference speed. Floaty, floaty. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, nice. Reverse thrust. Flaps up. Can we vacate here? Sure we can. Okay, reverse thrust off. Okay. Steering. Okay. So, do I have takeoff steering now or what? Yeah, takeoff steering. Okay, so it seems like you have to set up like takeoff steering before the landing, right? So otherwise you will not be able to steer at all. Can I just move here because I need to go to the left? Yeah, I'll just show you the airport because this is this payware one that I bought now. And that was really looking bad on the LIPZ website, and so it's not very well made advertisement, I guess, because in reality it's really interesting. So do we have the line here? Because I would like to turn off stuff. Or did I cross it already? No. Okay, so crossing the other runway. You can already see like a lot of detail. Okay. So let us leave the runway. Okay, so now we can set up everything. Okay, so parking brake. Okay, fine. We don't need the anti-ice. Okay. We don't need the radar. Okay. Here under tuning, we can move this one to standby. Okay. This we will move to ground idle. Okay. We don't need the auto feather anymore. Okay. Any other stuff? No. Guess we just switch this one to taxi. Okay. Whoa. Sorry guys for those views. I really need to do something about this one. Let me just get the chart. Okay. Okay, so let me just show you. So we are probably here at Kilo. We probably entered via here, Echo. Yeah, Echo, Lima, Quebec. Okay, so this is the general aviation terminal. Okay. So let's just go. Let me just see how the plane looks like. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. And let's just get going. And there will be one very interesting thing about the airport in the end. So let's just wait with me, bear with me, right? And I will show you something interesting, unique in this airport. So as I said, very, very nice and smooth taxiing. I always appreciate it because like my rudder pedals are not very good. So if like a plane is very twitchy when taxiing, it's always like stressful. So one of you told me that like he changed to Verpil controllers, right? It was like a helicopter video. And like when it comes to controllers, I was also considering finally switching because like the controllers that I have come like from my student times, I guess. So the pedals are like very old, clunky, and when I was buying them like many years ago, they were already used. So I could probably use something more. And like the joystick, it's kind of VKB, but like when VKB was new, they also, I think, had like a connected company that was called Ravcore and was doing like the same things, but just for Eastern Europe, a little bit cheaper. So I, as a student, bought this Ravcore joystick, right? So I guess both when it comes to the pedals and when it comes to the joystick, there is a lot of room up to improve the hardware, right? But we will see. Yeah, so this is a problem in 2024, right? I'm not sure how to solve it. I'm just getting those like generic planes. Maybe I would need to turn on traffic? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's really good looking airport, and like on the screens provided on the LIPZ, it was like looking like it would come, I don't know, from FSX, right? They were also like gray and ugly. Okay, so actually I wanted to hold somewhere here, so let's see if we will have the opportunity here. And I guess I can use the moment to show you what's special about this airport. Okay, so Shift V, if you don't know, this like newish photo mode is Shift V. Okay, you cannot go very far away from the plane, but you can go like a lot. So we will try, we will take this one, 443 probably. But before we do that, I wanted to show you the special thing about this airport. There is like actually like a marina inbuilt. Okay, and you can see even like here in the back, pretty nice detail. I'm normally not like a very big like airport buyer, but I'm buying the ones where I'm flying often, right? And this area I really like. Okay, and this is pretty much the limit. We cannot go further, right? So it's not like with the drone camera that you can go like a long way away. Just a second. Just need to make sure. Is there room? Yeah, there is. Okay. So let's just proceed. Yeah, I just like the plane, right? You have probably seen like I'm flying most of the best ones, right? But sometimes like the best ones are not the ones that I like the most. And this just has something about it, just the right combination of things and like being unique enough. There was a time when I was not flying anything that was not having any failures and like wear and tear and stuff. But nowadays, if something is fun and well made, even if without all of those like additional details, then I'm really enjoying it. Oops, taxiing is not my strongest side, so I'll just go back on the line, cheat a little bit here. Okay. Like this. And we do have the checklist here. You just cannot jump to those like places, specific places, right? This I doesn't work. There is also like a checklist provided, a separate checklist in a separate file on the website of FlightFX. Okay, so before we turn everything off, I will want to show you the replay. Okay, stop recording. Move here. The only noise will be, whoops, let me just do this one. The only noise will be from the trim, from what I remember, because it's like being pressed for some reason. And this is really good, come on. I mean, this texture is maybe not the best, right? But the amount of detail, okay, I really like it. Okay, so let me just replay it. So, outside view, replay. Here you can see the beautiful Venice. You can also go passenger view. You can hear the trim, right? It's strange when you cannot see like the wing. You would expect to have a wing view. Okay, and I will just switch to external in a second, just wanting you to show this one coming in. this should be open. And we can just enjoy a nice landing. And woohoo! Pure butter. Lucky like always. It actually, like, it's very nicely to feel when you are going like for touchdown. The only thing that I had was that it was a little bit floaty, but this time we made it, right? So the only problem I might have is like with very short runways, so not ones created for airliners, right? Okay guys, and with this one I thank you for watching. I hope you had fun. I hope you will have considered this like great plane, because nobody knows where it will be converted, right? And I see you in future videos. See you, bye bye, and thank you.